I am Miles McGee, private investigator here in downtown Pittsburgh, an old city with newer secrets layered on top of the old ones, a place where people love and live, but also hate and die. I work when people do the latter. I've had my own practice for some years now. The case I'm about to tell you happened not too long ago. This is the case of the Deadly Delusion. People usually come to me because something already's gone wrong. They're late or scared or bleeding. When someone walks in like they're early for their own appointment, I pay attention. Natasha Ozemkis arrived on a Tuesday afternoon looking like she had nothing to lose and everything under control. Hair perfect, coat draped instead of worn. She didn't hesitate at the door or look around the room. She looked determined. She sat down without waiting to be asked. "I was told you're discreet," she said. "I try not to shout," I told her. She accepted that with a polite smile and moved on. "This won't take long," she said. "I have something that needs quiet attention." She opened her purse and removed a slim leather folio. Inside was a plastic sleeve. Inside that, a fragment of papyrus. Old or made to look old. Yellowed fibers, uneven edges, ink darkened by time, or maybe treatment. She handled it carefully, but without ceremony, like something valuable that hadn't yet decided what it was worth. "It's Ptolemaic," she said. "Ptolemy one of Alexander the Great's generals who divided his empire and then they buried him." "Interesting. Go on," I said. She continued. The papyrus references the burial site of Alexander the Great. Not directly. It's not a map, but it has information on its location. "I see, and what do you want from me?" I asked. She slid the folio across the desk. "I need to get it translated." "I'm the wrong person for that," I said. "What do you want me to do?" She leaned forward slightly, lowering her voice without theatrics. "There's a curator at the City Museum," she said, "Professor Lazenby, Egypt, Ptolemaic period. He should be able to translate this easily." "Find out how much he would charge for a translation," she continued. "If it's reasonable, I will pay. I want it done as quickly as possible." "And if he doesn't want to do it?" I asked. "I could find someone else, but that would take time. So please persuade him. It's not that long and should not take too much time." Well, that was clearer than what most clients gave me. "I will need to show that to him." She nodded. Museum creators like to make a little extra money on the side. They're not above that sort of thing. "Now, you're not asking me to authenticate it, are you?" She said, "No, it's real." "You're not asking me to negotiate?" "Not much. Just get this price and how long it'll take him to do it." "Well, where did you get it?" I asked. "A private collection, Eastern Europe. It changed hands discreetly." "Recently?" "Yeah, you could say that." "And why me?" "Because I want someone between me and the museum," she said. That was curious, I thought. She had something to hide. Instead of saving my fee and taking it directly to Lazenby, she wants to work through me. I wondered why. That made me feel a little nervous, but it was an easy job for a fee. So I quoted her my fee. She reached into her purse, paid me half. "Half now," she said, "and half when Lazenby translate the text." "That's acceptable," I said. "And if he agrees," I guessed, "then I want it done immediately. And if he isn't, then I'll reconsider my options." Well, that seemed honest enough. "To be clear, I won't lie for you," I said. "I'm not asking to," she said. "I'm asking you to get a translation for me, and that is all." She stood, adjusted her coat, and picked up her purse. "I trust your discretion," she said. I did not reply. She smiled and left. After the door closed, I put the envelope away. I didn't open the folio again. What stayed with me wasn't only the papyrus. It was how narrowly she focused her attention. She didn't want much. She wanted one man to do a simple technical job. And that was it. That was a bit strange, I thought. Professor Lazenby worked out of the office that felt more like a storage room that had given up. Shelves bowed under the weight of books that had outlived several theories apiece, it seemed. The air smelled faintly of paper, dust, and mineral oil. Not decay, just age. He didn't look up when I came in. He was bent over a tray, adjusting the angle of a light with slow precision. You have something, he said without turning. Yes, a Ptolemaic papyrus, I replied. He finished what he was doing before acknowledging me. When he did, his eyes went first to the folio in my hand, not to my face. That won't live long in plastic, he said. Let me see it. I handed it over. He didn't rush. He opened it carefully, slid the papyrus fragment out, and placed it flat under the light. He leaned in, adjusted his glasses, and went quiet. I watched him do what he did. There was no drama in it, no sharp intake of breath, no spark of excitement, just attention. This is interesting, he said finally. What do you mean? I asked. He reached for a loop and examined the fibers, the ink, the breaks along the edges. He traced a line of text with his finger, not touching it, just following the shape. He was very careful. It's not Ptolemaic, he said. Later? I asked. Yes, 2nd century, maybe 3rd, Roman period. The hand is competent. Whoever wrote this knew what they were doing. So it's real, I said. It's ancient, he corrected. It's not the same thing. He shifted his attention to the text itself now, murmuring parts of it under his breath in Greek, not translating it, just tasting the words. This is a set of directions, he said after a moment. Meaning? Meaning it's meant to convince, not to guide. He straightened slightly and looked at me for the first time. Someone wrote this to persuade a reader that a treasure existed and to make them think that they could find it. Alexander's treasure, I asked? Yes, Alexander was useful for that kind of fraud because people wanted to believe. Because people still want to believe, I said. He returned his attention to the fragment. The language is careful, he continued, vague at times and oddly specific at other times. It references a burial in locations that never existed, directions and instructions that lead to nowhere. That phrasing caught my attention. So this is what Natasha believes will lead her to untold treasure. So what does it say precisely, I asked. He gave a small shrug. It says that Alexander was buried with great wealth, which is a claim that circulated for centuries after his death, and many believed. Historians see fakes all the time. The most common are fake religious artifacts, a sliver of wood from Christ's cross or the bones of a martyred saint. This is different because it's a simple fraud. Seems your client is the latest victim. So no tomb, I asked. No hoard, he replied. No reason for one. His generals divided the empire and everything he owned within hours after his death. Many think his generals had Alexander killed. That's how empires worked then. Uneasy sat the crown. Many kings and emperors were assassinated and replaced. He leaned back, considering. As an artifact alone, it has interest, but also as an example of that fraud and petty dishonesty was practiced in ancient times. For that, it is particularly interesting. Museum patrons would like it, I think. That gives it value and human interest. For historical evidence, however, it's rather useless. I waited. You could translate it, I asked. I did most of it already. It's pretty short. And the translation does not say what your client hopes it will say. He slid the papyrus back into the sleeve and returned it to the folio. I assume she wants to know the directions to Alexander's treasures, he said. She wants to know what it says. He gave me a look that suggested he understood the difference. If she's expecting directions to a treasure, she'll be disappointed. And your fee, I asked? For a translation? $300. I could have it done in a few days. But the museum would be interested in acquiring it as an example of crime in the ancient world. I could make an offer. How much? I asked. $3,000, he said. I nodded, filing that away. He met my eyes again. You should be clear with her, he said. This document does not point to anything real. No treasure, no body, really nothing. It has no monetary value except as a curious artifact. I'll tell her what you said, I replied. Great. Let me know what she wants to do, he said. I left with the folio under my arm and a translation that hadn't yet been written, already knowing it wouldn't matter. Natasha listened without interrupting. This is the first thing I noticed. She didn't lean forward or stiffen when I told her what Lazenby had said. She didn't ask me to repeat anything. She just let the information settle, like it was aligning itself with something she'd already believed. Then she smiled. So he's interested, she said. Well, he's willing to translate it, I replied, for a fee. And the papyrus itself? He thinks it has value, he said, as an artifact. Her smile deepened slightly. How much? 3,000. She laughed, not disbelief, but in satisfaction. That's not nothing, she said. It's not what you were expecting, I said. She waved that away. Of course it isn't. He's a curator. That's how they start. How they start what? I asked. Negotiating, she said. Positioning. I watched her now. Not the papyrus, her. He says it's a later text, I reminded her. Roman period. She nodded, unconcerned. Which means it survived, she said. Which means people kept it. He says it reflects belief, not fact. She looked up at me then, faintly amused. Those are the same things to a museum, she said. They're not, I said. They are when there's something at the end of the belief. I let that sit. He doesn't think it points to anything real, I said. That finally got a reaction, not anger, annoyance. Of course he doesn't, she said. If he admitted that, he'd have to explain why he wants it. He wants it because it's interesting, I said, because it shows how myths formed and how people were somewhat crooked even back then. She shook her head slowly. You don't pay $3,000 for myths. You pay that for leverage, for paper, I said, for access, for what comes next. I leaned back. He told me very clearly that this does not lead to a treasure. She smiled again, patient this time. And yet he wants it, she said. That's not a contradiction, I said. Things can be false and still valuable. She studied me as if reassessing. If it were false, she said slowly, it would be worthless. That's not how history works, I said. That's how incentives work, she replied. She tapped the folio lightly with one finger. If this were just a story, she continued, he would translate it, take his fee, and send me on my way. He offered to buy it, I said. Yes, which tells me everything. What does it tell you, I asked. Her eyes met mine, confident and calm. That he understands what it is, she said, and he wants control of it. He offered 3,000, I said. That's not control. She smiled again, thinner now. It's an opening, a way to take it off my hands cheaply before it becomes inconvenient. Inconvenient to who? I asked. To him, to the museum, to anyone who doesn't want a private discovery forcing their hand. I watched the line finish drawing itself in her mind. He says Alexander didn't leave a treasure, I said. She shrugged. Historians say lots of things until they don't. And if he's right, I asked. She looked at me as if the possibility had never seriously presented itself. Then he wouldn't want it, she said. She reached for her purse and stood. Let him translate it. I want the text. And the offer? I asked. Her smile returned, easily and assured. We'll talk about that later, once I know what he really knows. She picked up the folio. People don't pay for things they don't believe in, she said, and I believe in this. She left with the same confidence she had arrived, carrying a conclusion she had reached before either of us ever spoke to Lazenby. I sat there for a while after she was gone, replaying that conversation in my head. She hadn't rejected the information. She had translated it. So she thought. Well, I heard about Lazenby the next morning. Not from Natasha, from the city desk. The museum hadn't opened yet. A graduate student had come in early to finish cataloging, and he found the office door ajar and the lights on. Lazenby was on the floor of his desk, behind his desk, folded awkwardly as if he had slipped and tried to catch himself too late. The first report called it a robbery. That didn't last long. I was pouring coffee when my phone rang. You knew him, Shaughnessy said. I met him. Once, I replied. When? Yesterday afternoon. There was a pause in the line. Keys clicking. You show him anything? Yes. What did you show him? A papyrus fragment. Greek, Roman period. What did he say? He said it was interesting. He said it was a later fraud. And you told your client? Yes. How did she take it? She disagreed. Chauncey exhaled slowly. Cause of death is a gunshot, once to the head, he said. No weapon left behind, no forced entry. Looks like he knew his killer, he said. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I closed my eyes and leaned against the counter. He offered to buy the papyrus, I said. How much? $3,000. Chauncey was quiet again. You think that mattered? I think it sealed it, I said. Explain. She believes the text points to something real, a treasure. If he was willing to pay for it, then in her mind it must be real, not fake like he said. At least that's how she saw it. That meant he believed it too. Saying it was fake meant he was lying. So she thought he was cheating her? Yes, that's what I think. That makes murder reasonable? To her? I said. Yes. Another pause, longer this time. Where's the papyrus now, he asked. With her. And what does she think happens next? She'll take it somewhere else, I replied. Find another expert. Prove Lazenby wrong. And you? I'm the one who brought him into it, I said, which means I know what he said and why she killed him. Chauncey didn't argue. Don't go anywhere, he said. I won't. The call ended. I stood there for a long moment, the coffee going cold in my hand. Yesterday, it was only a translation wanted. Today, Lazenby was dead. And the only person who understood why was the woman who decided that certainty mattered more than correction. I had a bad feeling about my situation, and I felt it wasn't very secure. So I checked my gun. Natasha didn't disappear after Lazenby died. That told me more than anything else. People who panic run. Natasha was not panicking. That meant she thought the problem was contained, which meant she hadn't finished yet. I called her the next afternoon and told her we should settle up. The rest of my fee, close the file. She didn't hesitate. My place, she asked? My place, I said. When she arrived, she looked exactly the same as she always had, calm, certain, in control. Same purse. There was nowhere else for that gun to be. She set it down on the table between us, angled toward her. The clasp was loose. Ready, I think. I stayed relaxed, leaned back, hands visible. She handed me the envelope. This is a balance, she said. I took it. I set it aside unopened. All square, I said. The job was done, nothing left, but she still sat there. She must have another reason for staying. I think I knew what it was. She watched me carefully. You've been quiet, she said. I did what you asked, I replied. I knew you would. I poured myself a drink, but didn't offer her one. He said it wasn't really, I said. He said that because he wanted it, she replied. That's not what he said. That's what he meant, she said. I watched her as I spoke, not pushing, just letting the space stretch. You really believe it's there, I said? Her eyes flicked to the folio on the table. Believe? She said softly. I can feel it. I said nothing. She leaned forward slightly now, not toward me, toward the idea. Gold doesn't disappear, she said. It waits. Buried things always wait. Her voice had changed, slower, warmer now. They sealed him with them. Not coins, but objects, gold objects, valuable objects, lots of them. Things you could touch, hold, more wealth than you could imagine. She closed her eyes for a moment. Just thinking about it, she said, is dizzying. You killed Lazenby for that delusion, I said. She opened her eyes. It's not a delusion. The treasure's real, and he was in the way, and he lied. He said what it was. He said that to throw me off the track, to divert me. He wanted it for himself. Why do you think he wanted to buy it from me? For the museum? Don't make me laugh. The crook, she replied. I looked at her. I had an idea of what is next. What now? Am I next? I asked. She smiled, not apologetic. You know too much. Sorry. And you're finished being useful. Her hand moved towards the purse. Mine was already on my gun. Don't, I said. She froze just for a second. Then she went for it anyway. I moved first and fast. I knocked the gun out of her hand. It hit the floor, sliding away. She stared at it, then at me. That was a mistake, she said. Yes, I replied, yours. Shaughnessy, I yelled, raising my voice. You hear all that? There was a pause, footsteps above. Yes, every word. He came down from the loft with 2 officers behind him. She looked up at them, shocked, then back at me. You planned this, she said. I prepared, I replied. I reached into my pocket and set my phone on the table. I also recorded it, if you want a copy. Shaughnessy picked it up, surprised. Didn't expect that, he said. Nice touch. I like redundancy, I said. He nodded and gestured to the officers. They took her away without a struggle. When the door closed, the room went quiet again. I poured the rest of my drink and finally opened the envelope. Then I put everything away. Finally, day was over. So I called April. You cooking tonight, she asked. If you bring the right incentives, I said. Steak Diane, she said. Steak, crab, asparagus. I smiled. Sounds great. Haven't had that in a while, I said. April said, then it's time. I hung up, opened a beer, and leaned against the counter. Someone had died, I thought, for something that never existed. Natasha had this delusion of wealth and believed it hard enough to kill. That kind of certainty leaves wreckage. And poor Professor Lazenby died because I didn't read Natasha like I needed to. I know there was nothing I could have done about that. I did not see it coming, but that does not make me feel any better. But now there is good company coming, a dinner to make, and a quiet night ahead. That'll be enough. It has to be.